appreciate you sticking around, David. And I was listening this morning. Enhance was very good. You can grab that podcast. You guys talked a lot of football, but I want to talk NBA with you. I've got Eric Pincus coming up at the top of the 11 o'clock hour. And he writes for Bleacher Report, but he's a national guy, so we might hit some broad topics. But I'm certainly curious to get his take on the Jazz. And I was kind of thinking of, which direction to go to, radio cliche, like, hey, Eric, rate the Jazz offseason. But it's kind of what I'm getting at. How has the Jazz offseason gone? I mean, the goal of winning a title is still...
hardly worth talking about.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
so
that's
far away.
so very far away.
It's far away on the old timeline, and it's far away looking at the Jazz roster. I mean, there is a universe where it is possible to miss the playoffs 3 years in a row and then win the title 2 years later.
I agree.
Oklahoma City just did it, but the Jazz do not appear to be on that timeline.
It seems far away.
Yes,
even in the new modern world, it's far away. Certainly
far
away.
San
Meaning
Antonio's made a lot of good moves, but they still haven't gotten back to the playoffs yet. And there seems to be a lot of momentum in San Antonio. There seems to be a lot of positive people around the league analyzing what they're doing. There's a lot of positives, but nonetheless, they got a long streak of not going to the playoffs.
Here's why I kind of side on really good offseason. And it's all the optimism with Ace Bailey and then moving off bad contracts. They had to get off the veterans. I've had this discussion with you.
It took forever.
That was
so I don't
overdue.
know you can give them an A for the offseason doing something that doesn't everybody wish that was done a year or two ago?
Well, they didn't do it a year or two ago.
I know, but shouldn't Clarkson have been moved 2 years ago?
In theory, yeah.
I don't think
they're
all the same thing. I think Clarkson could have, would have, should have been moved 2 years ago. Get a second-round pick. Don't hold out for a first-round pick, whatever. Just get on with it, right? Nick Collins coming in, okay, basically you're going to rehab his career and then flip him, right? You get a distressed asset, you build it up. It's like flipping a house after you've painted it and put a new driveway and put a new roof in, right? And he was in a much better place, really shooting, and there should have been a market for him. But given the way the CBA works, there wasn't. So they misjudged the market there, which isn't great, but given the fact the rules just changed, I get how it happened, but I don't like it.
Do you watch South Park, David?
I do not, actually.
You are aware of what that show is?
I am aware.
Yeah, a little zany, but there's one particular episode where
it's a zany cartoon.
where they introduce a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
And the superhero's name is Captain Hindsight. And they go to all these disasters, right? Things happening, aliens attacking the world or whatever, and then everybody's like, "Oh, we need Captain Hindsight." And he lands and he's like, "Well, you should have done this, and you should have done this, and you should have done this, and we'll see you later." And it's like,
I think
Captain
you
Hindsight.
need Captain Hindsight to see John Collins. I don't think you need Captain.
But no, hold on.
Go ahead.
My point is, though, they did it. They didn't do it 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. They didn't do it last year. They did it this year. That's a good thing. They had to do it. And maybe they didn't get max return, but you know what? John Collins isn't helping you win games because he's not part of the future and he's not on the team. So that's the idea. Mm-hmm. And they did at least get something back for him, realizing they didn't for others. But it is what it is, as an old boss of mine used to say. But at least they did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose so.
I don't disagree with you. I don't. They bet on a market. We talked about this the other day. They bet on a market that wasn't there for a couple of reasons, because the new CBA kicks in, but the TV money hasn't. So now all of a sudden it is extraordinarily punitive to take on salary really at all in any way, shape, or form. And it froze up the market on mid-level players.
Yep.
Because young players on rookie deals still have value because they don't make any money. And stars still have value because they're stars. And you'll still have owners who will bend over backwards to get them on the roster. Guys like John Collins, all of a sudden there wasn't a market. Because in theory, acquire him, polish it up, teach him how to shoot, or not teach him how to shoot. That I don't mean to be condescending, and that isn't the case. But really up his numbers and his production. And man, yeah, he's a modern NBA player. He's versatile. He's athletic. He's long. He's skilled. There should be a market for that guy. There's not, because he's in this range of salary that is just not fit the puzzle for other teams. And so they misread They misread the tea leaves. They would not be the first team to
Right.
do something like that. Oh, I mean, the crazy example was the last time they got a new TV deal and they put it into the salary cap in just 2 years instead of smoothing it out, which they're doing this time where they're going to spread it out. And do you remember teams just went bananas?
Yeah, that's why Kevin Durant went to the Warriors.
But well, not Kevin Durant, who actually made a not greedy move and made a, I guess you could
But the Warriors
argue
would
a
have never
basketball
been
move.
able to afford
But
it.
who were the guys? Do you remember all the bozos
There were a
that
lot of bad
signed
contracts, yeah.
signed these just
Yeah.
giant
Might as well have just lit that money on fire and thrown it out
deals.
the window.
talk about misreading what the impact was going to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then these players end up being an albatross for half a decade around the neck of these franchises. And they, who were a couple of examples? I mean, Gordon Hayward kind of was, honestly, but wasn't like Nick Batum signed a giant, or Chandler Parsons? Does that sound right?
Yes.
Yeah, these mediocre players that signed these crazy deals and ended up really hampering franchises. I mean, franchises misread what the cause and effect of things are going to be. And the tightening of the screws on the luxury tax with the second apron and all that minutia is having an impact for sure. And if you would tell me that the Jazz did not read that tea leaf correctly, I would agree with that assessment. But what are you going to do about it now? The worst thing they could do is roll the dice that the value was going to go up and sit on them for another year. So
That would have cost him a top 8 pick in the draft.
maybe I'm not as worried about the draft, lottery and all the luck of the draw and all that. It's just not having John Collins on the team is not.
You're pumped they got Ace Bailey at 5.
And he's a young guy and he's going to grow and he has
And
superstar
the next
potential.
draft is supposed to be better and deeper. And maybe it will be, maybe it won't be, but they can't get shut
No,
out.
I'm not saying be good. I'm saying stop sweating every win and loss for one slot of lottery luck
I'm
over
talking
the
about
other.
whether you have it or you don't.
Yeah.
'Cause
Oh,
you
because
can
you
give it to
convey
Oklahoma
it.
City.
I understand.
That's what I was getting
No, I understand. No, and that's a
Yeah.
valid point. And I actually think they could, depending on how it goes, be good enough to kind of threaten that a little bit, honestly.
Depends what everybody else does.
Like Cody Williams played really well in Summer League.
How many games can they win when teams aren't running out their best?
Oh,
And
yeah.
you know what I mean?
And the back third
watch-
of the schedule is wild. And if you're trying, you can pick up a lot of W's.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then if you get unlucky with the slots also.
And
How far do you fall?
And honestly, you saw how hard it was to lose that many games last year. How difficult that
They
was.
worked at it.
How honestly, you have them too, but I could tell you anecdotes about little subtle ways that they fixed ball games. Basically, I should say
The
fixed.
most,
but,
the most exciting part of a game day was seeing the list of who was going to play and who wasn't.
which for honestly,
That was like the newsiest thing.
and it all comes back to me all the time. But for a pregame show host,
Uh-huh.
that is the most frustrating thing in the world. You have no clue. I mean, you're setting out a show, you're picking out topics that are going to be relevant to the game, and all of a sudden, I built half a segment around this player who played well that game, and then
Hey,
Jamil in our ear is like,
So and so's out.
"Hey, just so you know, Larry Markkinen is not playing." Like, wait, what? Okay, well, let's wad that up and throw it in
Yep.
the trash, and we'll figure out
Next.
something else. But that's honestly how much of that is modern NBA too. I mean, it just happens with all teams all the time.
It's pro sports. We had the bites this morning where Cincinnati and Dallas owners, the Bengals and the Cowboys, were complaining about injuries and having to pay guys who weren't playing and all that. And I'm like, well, go find a baseball owner and talk about the pitchers. On any given day, look at how many pitchers are on the injured list. How many pitchers in any season, and we'll get to the end of the year, and like how many people had Tommy John surgery this year, right? Starting pitchers used to be celebrities, and now they're super careful with them. Nobody's pitching into the 8th inning. They're not doing that. And it used to be you go to the ballpark and you see the starter, and the starter's a big deal, and the starter sold tickets, and now they're protecting their arms, and it doesn't work. And basketball players over here shredding Achilles left and right. I think we're pushing the human body about as far as it can go. You can strengthen the muscles and the bones, but we haven't figured out the ligaments yet.
Yeah, I think so.
Ligaments in the pitching arm, the
and-
Achilles. I mean,
and modern Americans are
Knees.
super soft, just soft,
I don't know
pudding
that- I don't know that
soft.
these athletes are soft. You got different
I'm
athletes.
kidding. I'm
different,
just making.
yeah.
No, I'm just making a joke.
Okay.
I
You're
do,
hilarious.
No, I do think the mentality has shifted.
protect the asset, definitely, as opposed to push through.
And they have more power and leverage to do it. For
Right.
example,
But-
Ron Boone played how many games in a row?
Right. But he wouldn't have played if he tore his Achilles.
No, he wouldn't have. But my point more is Ron probably played through
Injuries
a
they would sit him
lot.
for today.
And
Injuries they
a
would sit him
lot.
for. Yeah.
And you know why he did it? Because if people didn't come through that door, there wasn't going to be a league tomorrow.
Right.
And the owners had all of the leverage. They would tell. I mean, getting to your, I'm complaining about paying hurt players, owners. I mean, that mentality goes back. Like, well, if you're not going to play, Ron, here's an application at Ace Hardware because that's your other option because this hasn't made it yet, and there's no TV money, and it's all gate, and it's all you talk about. Play for the love of the fans. Back in the day, it was fans would just spend money on something else if Jerry West wasn't playing and they felt burned by it. I mean, it was just a different world. Now the money doesn't come from the gate. The money is crazy huge, and the players, through a series of labor victories, have a ton of leverage. And if you don't like Kawhi Leonard sitting out all those games, well, he'll just go play somewhere else. He's done it before.
It's the wild popularity of the sport because, yes, the players have a ton of leverage and through CBA deals, and yet arguably they've gotten, well, really not arguably, they've gotten rolled back in the last couple of deals.
Yeah, Derek Fisher sold them
There's
out, and he
so
should be.
Much money.
Yeah.
Everybody is awash in it.
They have won. They won even when they got basically the salary cap in the late 90s. There were other concessions from a BRI standpoint where they were making more than 50%. And they got creamed in the last lockout. And
did they? I mean, they did, but they didn't.
I mean, they're still, the power's on, David. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about.
But the money is still getting bigger. But it's not getting bigger as quickly as it could have. I get that. It could be accelerating more quickly.
And all
it's
of
not.
that.
But if that's the definition of getting crushed, sign me up.
But that's all the owner's argument is, oh, you're still doing great.
Yeah.
And you're still, and
everybody,
this is, and
everybody is. There's no losers in pro sports.
And this is what, the owner's opinion is what is going to grow the sport. And some of that may be true, but if the owners had their way, they'd be making 99% of the BRI in basketball.
Are you old enough to remember when owners actually ran out of money and had to sell teams because they were bankrupt?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're not hearing that anymore, are we, Jake?
No, we're not.
We're past that.
Well, players would say that's because of them. Owners would say that's because of me. So where do you meet? And it used to be so lopsided for the owners.
Somewhere around 53 or 49%, as it turns out. That's where you
That's right. And they had to fight for, they used to have 50, was it 50 as high as 53? Now it's at like 49.
More damaged by labor negotiations. Baseball, football, basketball, hockey.
What do you mean damaged?
Well, I think baseball was hurt
by the overall process.
When they didn't play the World Series in '94.
Yeah.
I think hockey was hurt when they wiped out an entire season about a decade later.
Yeah, but look at
football took some dings. They had two very compromised seasons in the '80s.
But hockey got some really interesting reforms. So you say
did.
hurt.
Well, I'm not
say hurt
hurt,
by the
but not
player.
killed.
The
Not
players
killed.
were hurt by it.
But they bounced back.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
sport
look
has
at some of
bounced
these
back.
stars who were they're making like $7 million.
Yeah.
And these really great players. You look at the salary range for NHL players, and it's
which $7 million sounds like very little compared to whatever the biggest the biggest baseball contract is. Trout gets it, Harper gets it. It's everybody gets. Soto gets paid. I mean, it's one guy after another getting paid more and more. Shohei, but $7 million, you can't just.
So who's damaged though? That's what I'm saying. The players, the sport.
Oh, in the short run, it was damaged, and the players, and the sport was hurt.
Yeah, but baseball.
But over time, they grow out of it, and their revenue grows again, and we're a generation down the road.
But baseball is funny because could the sport of baseball, if the owners had more, self-control or more of a hard cap or something like that, would the sport be more successful? Because baseball has gone from number 1 in the sports lexicon to arguably 3, 4?
Well, I think 2.
You think
and
2?
The NBA's pushing. There's a there's some dynamics that are unique to each sport that shape how they make money. The fact that you only play one NFL game a week, you can basically broadcast a lot of these games nationally. Whereas basketball, you're playing 3 or 4 times a week, so they set up these TV contracts with doubleheaders 7 nights of the week and sell them off to 2 and now 3 different providers who make big money. Baseball, there just isn't the appetite for the national, and I don't think it's because people don't care and don't want to watch. I think it's because your local team is playing every night. They're playing 6 days out of 7, and you're watching them, so you don't have time to watch whatever the equivalent would be of the TNT Thursday night package or Monday night football. That doesn't really exist in baseball, but if you're watching the Yankees or the Dodgers or, the Padres or the Tigers or, I don't know, whoever, 6 days a week, how much more time do you have?
Baseball sucks on TV, which is
they each have
makes
their
it
own
really hard.
unique-
But here's where baseball, why they just print money is because there is no more lucrative gate in sports than baseball. They play a zillion home games. They play in stadiums that are huge, and they sell a bunch of tickets whether they're good or not because it's an experience and an event. So
it depends on the team.
There's baseball's value.
Not every team does. That is baseball's value. That actually scares some people because they don't. The Jazz can rebuild, and their gate's great, but they're getting so much money from the national TV that they're set. It really can't go wrong. It's
Right.
It's foolproof.
But
And baseball doesn't have that because there are stadiums you look around and it's, hello.
It's true, and I'm not saying it's always the case, but with baseball, you got a little bit of this in football too, and some in basketball, but I would say less. It's the event. I'll go see. I don't care if I'm in San Diego and the Padres are in town. I don't know where they're sitting in the standings. I don't care. I'm just
How many players can you name?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm going to do?
It's a game. It's an event. Yeah.
I'm going to park my butt on the first base line.
Is it really that different than going to a concert?
No, it's not.
You go to
With-
some concerts where you know every lyric of every song. And you other concerts where
Right.
I've heard of them and I know 2 songs and I'll go.
It's summer
Yeah.
and I'm outside and it's
Yeah.
beautiful and I've got hot dogs and malted beverages and I went out to the Bees game a couple Sundays ago. Like, food is really good nowadays. They pour a lot of effort into the game experience. It has nothing to do with how good the team is or is not. And like I said, there is some of that in all sports, but I think it's really prevalent specifically in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to a market, David, you used to travel so much. I mean, if you go to a market and the team's in town, there's a good chance David James is bouncing over to that stadium to catch a game.
Went to the Nationals game and it got rained out on me.
Bummer.
I was right there. But that's how I got Fenway Park checked off the list.
Yeah.
I was there for a
right.
soccer game. We went to 4 of us got tickets and we were out in right field.
What are we going to do
Which,
tonight?
by the way, I thought it'd be more hardcore baseball fans. I thought I was going to see a lot of people keeping score and all that. And at Fenway, they get the big Jumbotron and they sing every half inning. Tons of college students in a town with I don't even know how many universities, right? And they're all out and it was crazy. It was not what I expected.
But the gate is magic for baseball. That's the thing.
In some cities.
Yeah.
In other cities, it is not.
And in the case of the old Dodgers owner, parking for baseball games. McCourt kept the sweetest plum for himself.
There it is.
Take that, Major League Baseball. Thank you. I know you've got a thing,
Yeah, I do.
and I've
I
kept
got
you a long time.
right.
Appreciate it, David.
See ya.
Have a great day.